Wow. I just got to say, wow. I might get emotional here for a second. In my years as a Christian man, and over the last couple years, just watching men puddle around in their Christianity, never did I think that I'd see a room or hear a room of 50 guys singing. And you go to most churches and you look around and most of the guys are sitting with their hands in their pockets and arms crossed and lips tight as can be. And I'm telling you, man, I heard here tonight, I heard 50-some men praising God. And that's just awesome. So that's an answer to a prayer. So I'm going to try to get through this tonight. Not very good at any of this, but God put me here. And who am I to say no to God? We've heard many stories of how that turns out. So tonight, Tim was talking Sunday about a book, Mansfield's Book of Manly Men. We've read it. He read it before I read it, and then he mentioned it, and I read it, and some of you may be reading it now or have read it. It's a pretty good book for what it is. In it, he talks about these maxims, 4 maxims that make men men. And so one of them, number 1, what we'll talk about tonight, is manly men do manly things. Yeah, right. What does that mean? You know, what is that? I've seen women do manly things, but it's a whole nother, we'll talk about that another day. Anyhow, so, there's the obvious things, hunting, fishing, blowing stuff up, farting, scratching, spitting, all that good stuff. There's also manly things that we're called to do by our God. We need to pray. We need to worship. We need to tithe. All the things that we're called to do, the uncomfortable things. We're called to be good husbands, fathers, sons, friends. And all the time. That's hard a lot of times. My wife tells me I'm her spider killer, and that doesn't mean I just kill spiders. When she needs something done, she says, I need a spider killed. And so I know she needs something done that she can't do. So we as men are called up to be spider killers. Like I said, the manly maxim is manly men do manly things. Well, to me, there's a problem with that. A lot of times we're frozen by the question that Tim also brought up Sunday, which made me take a hardcore look at my life. Thanks, Tim. Do I have what it takes? Can I do this manly thing that's put in front of me? And more importantly, what freezes us is the answer to that question, or who's answering it. A little insight to me. I grew up in a broken home, single mother. She was 16, so my whole life I've been looking for that validation, that man in my life to lift me up and say, you do have what it takes. And I never had it. I looked for it in many avenues. I was a fighter, I was a cop, I was a biker, I was a drunk, I was a womanizer, all the manly things this world tells us we need to do. And none of them answered that question to me, do I have what it takes? Because even when Tim asked me to do this, I froze with fear. I said, I was trying to think of every excuse possible to get out of it. Because I'm like, I don't have what it takes. I can't get up in front of these men and tell them how to be a man because I don't know how to do it. So much so that when I was writing these notes and studying this stuff and my wife asked to see it, I yelled at her because I was so scared that it was horrible and she was going to criticize it, knowing that she's my best friend and anything that comes from her is for love. But my fear out of that question, do I have what it takes, dictated my actions. So that's a little insight to that. And there's also, as I'm trying to find something in Scripture to go along with this, do I have what it takes? I'm thinking, where's the story at? And I'm like, Here's something we can relate to. David and Goliath. We've all heard of David and Goliath, I hope. But, and we all like to, figure out the characters and kind of, characterize ourselves like David, taking on the big Goliath and fighting the big mean monsters of the world. But to me, there's even a bigger reality in this story of who dictates my life. And I'm not trying to offend anybody. If anything I say, I'm probably either talking to myself or I've already been through it. So it's not to hurt anybody's feelings. But if it does and it changes your life, then good. But anyhow, the soldiers. We overlook all the soldiers that are standing there as Goliath is poking fun at them and making fun of them. And, the king's offering them all kinds of stuff. He's offering them money, tax-free, his daughters. He's offering all this stuff to them. And they're all lined up there in their battle garb. And every one of them's asking, do I have what it takes? And they're letting Goliath answer that question for them. And so many times in life, I think that's what we do. It says here, for 40 days, these soldiers got up every day, put on their battle garb, marched out to the battle lines, crying out a battle cry. They were going to war. They were ready to fight. They were doing everything they thought was manly to them. They were like, we're going to go out and kick some butt. And then they get out there, they get to the battle line, and they freeze. It's just like me with this. Tim and I talked. I was all pumped up about it. Yeah, let's start a men's ministry. Let's do this. You want to lead it? Sure, I'll lead it. Okay, let's go. We get to the battle line, and I'm like, wow, I hope I wreck my car so I don't have to get there. True thought. That is the fear that cripples us. I believe it's true. I mean, when our wife's hurting and struggling, and we know we need to pray for her, how many times do we think in our minds, okay, I'm going to pray for her, but it's not going to be a good prayer, so I won't do it. Or, I got a buddy at work that his marriage is struggling, and I really should go talk to him, but he'll probably make fun of me, so I won't. It's that same question. You can word it however you want, but it's the same question. Do I have what it takes? Will they accept what I have to say? It's that validation that we're looking for. And then, we got, like I said, we got this army that every day they piled on their battle garb and walked out and were frozen. And then here comes David. Walks out there to take his brother's food. He was basically their waitress. And he gets there and he's like, what are you guys doing? You're soldiers. Why aren't you kicking this guy's butt who's making fun of the Israelites? He's making fun of God, essentially, is what David says. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine making fun of us, calling us out? And what do they start doing? They start bagging on David. Who are you? Who'd you leave your few little sheep to, shepherd boy? Mary had a little lamb. So, and he goes, and that's his brothers. That's his family talking to him. And he doesn't listen. He moves up the line. And he's asking all the soldiers, what are you guys doing? He even gets to the king, and the king's like, no, you're not good enough. This is the king telling him, you're not good enough. Anybody would think, okay, the king's saying it must be true. David says no. He picks up 5 rocks and runs. Runs. Not because he had what it takes, not because everybody told him he has what it takes. He had faith in his God that has everything it takes. He ran and defeated Goliath because he was not frozen by the question, do I have what it takes? Because he knew the answer. My God does. So, the questions I ask tonight, and as we break up into groups, we're going to talk about these questions. And I want you guys to be honest. Nobody's here to judge you. No, nobody's here to poke fun of you or whatever. I guarantee everybody in here has a struggle worse than the next guy. Everybody's dark place, everybody's fear is just as bad as everybody else's. So let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with each other. The question I want you guys to talk about is, what areas of your life does that question freeze you in? And again, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be like manly things, like I don't like to go hunting because I'm scared of guns or whatever. It can be things. I don't want to talk to my kids about Christ because, I'm afraid of their rejection or whatever what it might be. It still, like I said, revolves around that question. Do I have what it takes? Will they accept me? Will I get their validation? And that's my other question. Who or what do you look for your validation? What, that's the other part of this question is we find that area that validates us. Do I have what it takes? Not for that, but I have what it takes for something less. So I'll stay right here. And that's what I found a lot in my life, even as I was walking into Christianity. The big fear was, at that time I was hanging out with bikers and drinking and partying and having a blast. And in that circle, I was somebody. They knew, don't mess with him. He's mean. He can drink a lot, and he can get any girl in this place. But I didn't want that life anymore. But as I started studying Christianity, and I had no one to walk along with me. So I'm reading the Bible as God laid it on my heart, and I'm like, do I have what it takes to fulfill this? What's on the other side of all of this, and who's going to validate me once all this is gone? Because once I let go of this, I start out again as nobody. And that was terrifying to me. So I had to look to Christ. I had to read the scriptures and figure out other places to find validation. And it's still a struggle. I still don't completely get that where I should in areas of my life. There's confidence issues, and that comes from, the whole father validation. That's a whole counseling session that we're just not even going to get into. But so as we break up in groups tonight, I just want you guys to talk about what areas of your life does the question, do you have what it takes, freeze you or cause you to settle for lesser things because you're afraid to move into the bigger moment. And number 2, who or what do you look for your validation? So we're going to, I don't know exactly how Tim's going to break us up, but he's going to be the ringmaster for all his monkeys.
So I don't know how I'm doing it either, so it's you and me both. All right. Here's the point of tonight. It's to get to know some other guys. And
Somebody
it's
with high heels on, go to this side.
Just checking. That's awesome. This is what we're going to do. Guys that I've already kind of shoulder tapped to be a huddle leader, if you guys can just raise your hand or stand up on where you're at, see how many guys I have. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to have to be a huddle leader. Tyler, can I have you be a huddle leader back there in the back? So go ahead and stand up. And who else do I need? Can you guys stand up and you kind of circle up here? Yes, both of you. Go ahead and stand up. What are we doing? So this is what I want. I want us to get into huddles of 6, 7 guys, okay? They may be right next to you. Now, here's the thing. If you came with somebody you don't want to talk to, then go somewhere else. That's okay. Like this is not a night to be offended. It's awesome to see some young guys, see some teenagers here. That's awesome. I would encourage you maybe to join a different group than maybe your dad's in, so that you can see some other guys and have some other conversations, if that's cool. So this is what we're going to do.
You need to talk about your dads.
This is what we're going to do. I'm going to have you guys kind of split up around the room, and we can mess up this room as much as we want. as long as we put it back. All right. So we're gonna kind of spread out here at the count of 3, and you guys can kind of find who you think you can connect with as in a huddle, and then we're gonna circle up chairs and then we'll kind of come back and you guys will kind of talk about these questions. So get to know each other, share each other's names, and ready, set, go. I gave each of you guys a card, and I need your help with something. Tonight, hopefully you guys have had some good just conversations, just kind of getting real with some other guys and circling up and learning some things. This is just the beginning. So if you came tonight, maybe you're like, well, I didn't really learn a whole lot. Maybe some of you are like, I don't know. This is just the beginning, okay? So if that's you, don't feel like you're not coming back. Come back, because this is the journey that we need to go on together as guys to figure out some of these things and to move on in some things. With the card I have given you guys, you need to grab a pen. So in the back of your chairs, if everyone wants to grab a pen, I need you to write 5 things, just a few words to help me out through this series, because I want to know where we're at as guys. Yeah. Oh, you guys are praying. Yeah, you're doing the spiritual thing. Elder Eric. That's funny. I need your help with something. I need you to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to have you answer with just a few words, a couple of questions. And this is going to help you maybe start thinking about some things. It's going to help me understand what you're thinking about and what we're thinking about as guys. All right? So, Sean, if you want to put those 5 questions up there. I think there's 5. So this is what I want you to do as we're starting this journey. I want you to describe yourself in just 1 or 2 words, right? This isn't sentences or paragraphs. It's just 1 or 2 words. And the first one is, what would my wife, girlfriend, significant woman would describe me as ... Like 2 or 3 words. What's that? On a good day or bad day? Whatever the average is, all right? So just a few words there. Number 2, and if maybe some of these don't mean anything to you, cross them out, right? If you don't have kids, the next one doesn't matter. So my children would describe me as ... Just 1 or 2 words of what you think they would describe you as. Number 3, I would describe myself as ... How would, just a few words that you would use. And then number 4, I had you write 5, but the number 4 is the one word I wish would describe me is ... Okay? So I want you to take just like 5 minutes, just a couple, this is just words, not paragraphs or sentences. Don't put your name on it. So if you put your name on it, grab a new piece of paper, or I'll know who you are. This is just anonymous. I just want to know where we're at. And this is kind of for you, for some self-evaluation too in the process. All right, so take a few minutes and write that down. Answer those questions.
I always want to do that. Attention, please. What was that? Attention, please. Well, I hope you guys were all truthful with yourselves and each other tonight and worked on finding out what areas of your life you get frozen in and where do we look for our validation. I think it was eye-opening over there to realize that most of us are frozen in the same areas. So I don't know if that was definitely God putting the same people in the same circles or what. But I mean, the true answer to the question of do I have what it takes, honestly, is no, you don't. But Christ does. And it's only through him will we find our strength. And the fact that we look for people and things on this planet to validate us, that's where our fear comes from. I mean, it's just like me getting mad at my wife, wanting to to read my notes for tonight because I was afraid that she wouldn't like them. And I seek her approval. And so what I thought her response was going to be dictated my actions instead of trusting the Christ that's in her heart and moving that way. So anyhow, I got some repenting to do when I get home. But so Christ is the answer to that question. And it tells us in Scripture that in 1 Peter, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Like I was telling in our group, the fact that God sent his only son to die on the cross for us should be validation in any situation that we need, period. I looked up a bunch of verses, but honestly, they all circle back to that. So I just want you guys to pick some person in each of your groups and just kind of pray over each other tonight as we get ready to get out of here. And Tim's going to come up and play another worship song to line our hearts back up with God and get us back in the moment to walk out of here and hopefully go out and lead our families and lead ourselves and those around us in a Christ-like way. And on your way out tonight, just drop your white cards in that red basket on top of the red box. Apparently we like red. So, all right, that's all I got. So, are you going to come and play?